Did you actually sit there and watch Angel Reese's own brand new teammates publicly cook her at her own introductory press conference before a single regular season game has been played? I want you to let that marinate for a second, because I don't think we fully appreciate what just happened. That was not trash talk from a rival. That was not an opposing coach throwing shade in a post-game interview. Those were the players Angel Reese is supposed to be building championship chemistry with, sitting at the same table, smiling into the same cameras, telling the entire world exactly what it felt like to go up against her for 2 professional seasons. What is good, everybody? I'm Dre Fiver, this is Dre Hoops, and today we are going completely no filter on the Angel Reese situation, the Caitlin Clark broadcast takeover, and why the numbers have now officially settled a debate that neither side wanted to let die. Let's start at the top, because the story that dropped this week is genuinely historic, and people keep burying the lead. The WNBA officially announced that the Indiana Fever will have all 44 of their 2026 regular season games broadcast on national television. Every single one. Not 40, not 41, all 44. And they are the only team in this entire league with 100% of their schedule on a national platform. Fever games are spread across 9 different broadcast partners: ABC, ESPN, NBC, Peacock, ION, Prime Video, CBS, USA Network, and NBA TV. 9 separate media organizations all ran their own internal numbers, made their own projections about what a healthy Caitlin Clark does to their ad rates and their subscription counts, and every single one of them said yes, that is not coincidence. That is a market consensus. When 9 organizations arrive at the same conclusion independently, you are not looking at favoritism or politics. You are looking at a verdict and Dre's personal take. It is genuinely wild that we even have to explain this. Networks do not pay for games because they want to be nice to a player. They pay because people watch, full stop. Ad rates are tied directly to how many eyeballs are on a screen at a given moment, and you do not hand a team every single game on national television without ironclad evidence that the investment comes back to you. Clark burst onto the scene in 2024 as a superstar from day one. First rookie in league history with multiple triple-doubles, led all players in assists, took home Rookie of the Year. Then she played only 13 games in 2025 due to injury, so now you have a proven ratings mover who missed almost an entire season coming back fully healthy. That combination was the safest available bet in women's basketball, and every partner in this deal priced it in accordingly. That is not a narrative, that is math. Now let's go through the actual broadcast rankings because the specific numbers matter. Indiana sits at 44 nationally televised games. Dallas Wings come in second at 36, which makes sense because Paige Bueckers and first overall pick Azzi Fudd together is genuinely exciting basketball, and the networks clearly agree. The New York Liberty land at 35 with their star-studded roster built around Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The Las Vegas Aces check in at 33, and let me remind you, the Aces are the defending 2025 WNBA champions with Aja Wilson, the reigning MVP, running their offense. The defending champions with the reigning most valuable player. And they still landed 11 games behind Indiana on the broadcast schedule. That is not a quirk in the scheduling software. That is a statement about the commercial gap between Caitlin Clark and literally everyone else in the sport right now. According to sports media analysts who track this industry closely, the NBA this season is set for a combined 40 games on the major broadcast networks of CBS, ABC, and NBC, a total that rivals any league outside the NFL. They are measuring the WNBA's broadcast footprint against the NFL. Think about where this league was 5 years ago and where it is right now in 2026. And the reason it got there is sitting in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse locker room in Indianapolis. Now here's where Angel Reese enters the picture, and Dre is going to be straight with you about this. The Atlanta Dream landed 28 nationally televised games this season. 28 against Indiana's 44. And before somebody in the comments tries to tell me 28 is actually decent, stop. The context is everything. Angel Reese has spent 2 full professional seasons telling every microphone within reach that she is the reason people tune into women's basketball. She has built an entire public brand around the idea that her presence drives the sport forward. The broadcast schedule is the most objective measurement of commercial value available. Networks have no feelings. They have data. And the data said 44 for Clark's team Dream and 28 for Reese's. The arena situation makes it worse. The Dream play the majority of their home games at a facility in College Park, Georgia that seats around 3,500 people. To their credit, they have moved 5 high-profile games this season to State Farm Arena in downtown Atlanta to handle the demand around big matchups. They know the small building is a problem for the marquee games, but 3,500 seats for most of the home schedule sends a very specific signal to media buyers that a sold-out 17,000-seat arena simply does not. When a network sells advertising against a live sporting event, atmosphere is part of what they are selling. The noise of a full building, the feeling on camera that something real and consequential is happening. The Las Vegas Aces play in Michelob Ultra Arena. The Liberty are in Brooklyn. The Fever sell out Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Those buildings sound like events. Gateway Center Arena in College Park, Georgia, for most of this season, does not. And that signal affects how aggressively networks bid for the rights. It is not personal. It is production value and bottom line math. You cannot talk about where Angel Reese is right now without understanding exactly how she got there. The Chicago Sky drafted her 7th overall in 2024. She had a record-breaking rookie season as a rebounder and earned all-star selections in both years. But the Sky combined for only 23 wins across her 2 seasons and never made the playoffs. And the whole time that was happening, the public narrative from Reese was about her individual value to the league. The rebounding was real. I am not going to take that from her. She grabs boards at a rate that demands attention. But there is a specific problem with how that number inflates. When a player is missing layups at a high rate and then corralling her own offensive rebound, you are counting the same failed possession twice while your team is still down 12 in the 4th quarter. The box score looks good. The scoreboard does not move. The situation inside Chicago got ugly in a way that went beyond wins and losses. During the 2025 season, Reese gave an interview where she publicly stated the team could not rely on Courtney Vandersloot to come back because of her age. Vandersloot, a 2-time WNBA champion, 5-time All-Star, was sitting out at that exact moment recovering from a torn ACL. The Sky suspended Reese for the first half of a game, citing comments deemed detrimental to the organization. Vandersloot addressed it directly afterward. She said it did not feel good. She said she understood what Reese was trying to say, but that it was not necessary. A veteran of that caliber who left a championship caliber team in New York to come back and help rebuild Chicago. She had to defend herself to the media because of something a younger teammate said publicly while she was immobile on a training table. When that happens, it tells you everything you need to know about how far the internal conversations had already broken down. According to multiple reports that came out around the time of the trade, players who worked alongside Reese in Chicago described the departure as a relief for the organization and for the locker room. And then, something very telling happened immediately after the trade was completed. Skylar Diggins signed with Chicago. Azura Stevens came in. Journey Carrington, one of the better perimeter defenders in the league, joined the team. The narrative around Chicago before the trade was that nobody wanted to play there. That narrative collapsed the moment Reese left. Every player who signed with the Sky after the deal is either an all-star caliber or all-defensive caliber player. And they all committed within weeks of her departure. You do not need me to connect those dots for you. The players around the league connected them for themselves. Now let's go back to that press conference, because I think the details matter more than the highlights. Ryan Howard said that anytime Reese was on the other side of the court, she thought she had 30 points. Read that again slowly. Howard did not say she was excited to finally be on the same team. She told you directly that guarding Reese was a scoring opportunity she circled on the calendar. Naz Hillman, the reigning 6th Woman of the Year, called Reese annoying as hell to play against, then added it was nice having her on the same side now. Alicia Gray said she loved playing against Chicago because those were her best games. 3 separate players, 3 separate answers, all pointing in exactly the same direction. And here is what Dre needs you to understand about those quotes. These were not trick questions. The reporter was not trying to trap anyone. These were completely standard chemistry questions that any team gets at any presser, and all 3 of Reese's new teammates independently volunteered that she was their favorite matchup. That is not a light roast between friends. That is 3 experienced professional basketball players telling you what's on camera with full awareness of what they were saying, exactly what they observed in real competitive game conditions across 2 full WNBA seasons. The Dream's front office traded 2 future first-round picks to acquire Reese. They are committed. They are locked in. They moved 5 games to a bigger arena to accommodate the demand she brings. And Reese herself described the move as a breath of fresh air and said feeling genuinely wanted was something she had not experienced before. I am not here to tell you the dream situation is doomed before it starts, but the players around her are not pretending they do not have opinions. And those opinions are sitting right on the surface of this roster before training camp even fully opens. So let's put the full picture together side by side, because when you lay it all out, the gap becomes impossible to argue with. The Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark back at full health, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham, a full functional roster with real depth, playing in a building that sells out consistently, all 44 games on national television across 9 broadcast partners, the most nationally televised games for a single team in the history of this league. The Atlanta Dream Angel Reese, new city, new organization, a 3,500 seat home building for most of the schedule, teammates who spent the introductory press conference describing her as their easiest competitive matchup, 2 years of 23 wins and 0 playoff appearances behind her, and 28 nationally televised games on the schedule. The face of the league debate has been running for 2 years now, and everybody has had something to say about it, but the broadcast schedule answered it on April 22nd, 2026, when the WNBA release the numbers. 44-28. Networks do not lie about money. Advertisers do not care about feelings. The market spoke, and it spoke clearly. That is the full story, and I am not sugarcoating a single word of it. If you think Reese is being held back unfairly, drop it in the comments and tell me why. Dre reads those and I want to hear the argument. If you think the numbers tell the whole story, let me know that too. Smash the like button right now, because this kind of no-filter coverage takes real work and your support keeps this channel going. Subscribe to Dre Hoops and turn on all notifications so you never miss when we drop. Because we are not slowing down. Click the video on your screen right now and we will see you in the next one.